Hello, cryptocurrency fans. Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to CryptoTrader's Room. And CryptoTrader's Room, as you guys might know, is a place where we eat, drink, sleep, dream, trade, and invest in cryptocurrencies. And if you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button, as well as the post notification, so that you're notified every time a video is uploaded, and also when I schedule these live streams as well too. And if you haven't done so, you can also stay connected with us. Check out our website. It's a landing page for you to sign up for our mailing list, which will be giving away chat membership to our Slack, as well as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat. We are all over the place. So what is going on today in the cryptocurrency world? Ethereum Classic, of course, making a move up, breaking that $8 level that it really had a hard time getting above. Well, it had a hard time getting above the 780. Once it broke that, it broke the, it was going to have a hard time at the 799. Broke through that, made it all the way up to 910 to be exact. So that's an impressive move for Ethereum Classic, and that was a move that I've been waiting for. But I did sell some of my position, unfortunately at a lower price than what I wanted to, but I wanted to lock in those profits just in case it did have a hard time getting above that 780 and $8. But I still have a little bit left over that I'm holding on for a bigger pump. But I guess the story of the day with the cryptocurrencies is Bitcoin, maintaining above 2,000. I didn't have that drop that I was expected. I mean, that 2,000 was really a psychological level for that I expected people to sell, and no, they really bought it up. Got it all the way up to almost 2,200. That's impressive without it really having a major correction. And is that major correction going to happen? That's something we'll have to wait and see. It all depends who's willing to support this. Are there new buyers coming in? Are there shorts that are going to be really stacking up and shorting it heavily? And I think that's why we're getting this run up on Bitcoin as well as Ethereum, is that shorts are kind of sitting and waiting on the sideline. They're not shorting this at all. But I think once they start to short, then we should definitely see a dip. But Ethereum, I mean, getting close to that $200 level, hitting 183, it looks like on Coinbase. Gemini, I don't think it got up that high. Actually, I'm sorry, on Bitfinex, I don't think it got up that high. Let's take a look and see currently what is it at on Bitfinex. I think it was like a difference of $5 or something to that extent. And I'm hoping you guys can hear me, but I am not on mute. I don't think I am. But let's see, Bitfinex, 2,137. That's for BTC. Coinbase, 2,181. Yeah, I don't think it'll have a hard time getting to that $2,200 level. But Ethereum, surprise move. I never expected it to. I expected it to break 100, but not, within 3 to 4 days, get up to 182. But yeah, 182 on Coinbase, and on Bitfinex 179, 178.30. And it's usually the opposite way. It's usually higher on Bitfinex, but the tides have definitely turned. I mean, even on, let's see, on Litecoin. Okay, Bitfinex only lists it in BTC price, which doesn't make sense at all. But let's see, who do we have on the chat today? You guys are pretty quiet. But yeah, if you can hear me, let me know, please. And the other news is that Ripple has actually been, it's available to buy and sell on Bitfinex. And I didn't see that announcement, and because it actually had a nice dip to 25 when they actually listed it. There was a major selling that happened, and I think on Poloniex it only got to about the 28 cent level. But let's go ahead and take a look at XRP. But I was trying to buy it at 25 cents, and I put in a lowball offer. But before I went to bed, I actually took that lowball offer off, so I didn't end up buying it. But if I had that lowball offer in, because I actually switched it to Litecoin, thinking that Litecoin was going to drop to about 20, and I think it got close to it, but it didn't drop to that $20, unfortunately. But yeah, I would have definitely had my trade executed because I had put it for 0.25001, and actually I think at 6 a.m. this morning it got to exactly 25 cents, and then made it right back up to 32. So that would have been a nice little profit of 2,200 bucks if I had actually left that open order in there when it dropped to 25. So we'll see what type of move this makes. If it does drop to 25, I would be interested in possibly taking a position in it. I don't know if it's going to drop further to maybe 22, but if it drops to 25, I'll definitely take a look at it heavily and see if that's going to be a good position for me to get into, in the hopes that it actually gets right back up to that 32, possibly 35 level. Bruce, welcome, buddy, and thank you for notifying me that you can hear me. I know I watched the previous video from last Friday, and the audio was perfect. I mean, it was on point. I didn't really hear any of the audio doubling up or anything like that. So I'm hoping that's going to be the same scenario when I listen to this video. All right, but yeah, I'm still holding a position about 375 still in Ethereum Classic, as well as 100 in Litecoin. So those are the positions I'm holding on. I periodically sold a little bit just to kind of reduce my overall exposure. But when I sold Ethereum Classic, could have sold it at a higher profit considering it had actually gone up and broke above 9. But I didn't get rid of everything, so I still do have some left over to be able to sell later on. But I knew that that pump was going to happen. It was just a matter of really timing it and having a good entry. And of course, I didn't time it and have a good entry because I bought it at 7, and it had a nice dip and then kind of consolidation. Little miniature pumps here and there, but it actually pumped up a little higher from that 7 to 9. But yeah, let me know if you guys were able to take advantage of any of these dips, or if you guys still holding Ethereum or even Bitcoin. Bitcoin making that huge jump. But that correction is going to happen. I mean, how long can this bubble actually go? And really, the market is new, so really, data hasn't told us exactly how long a bull market will last in the cryptocurrency. I mean, in the traditional financial markets, usually 5 years that you have a bull run, and then you kind of have the bear basically taking over after that and becomes a bear market for X amount of time. But this is a whole different market, so we don't really know how long a bull run could actually last in the cryptocurrency world. But it seems to be defying every logics, especially with Bitcoin and Ethereum just continuously running up. And it's just not them. It's just basically every altcoin has run up to just outstanding amount of volume that's coming into these and capital that's just being added. So it's a crazy world in the crypto space. But a lot of money to be made for sure. A lot of money to be made as long as you're careful. But I think anybody that was buying some of these cheap altcoins and just holding on to them, it's definitely paid off for them heavily. But at 865 for Ethereum Classic, it looks like a 181 on Coinbase for Ethereum, and then on Bitfinex LTC is down to about 2560. So we'll see. If it does get up to that 28.99, I am looking to get rid of probably all my holding on Litecoin. I got rid of a little bit, about 56, a third of my position at 28.99, and then the rest of it, really, I was looking to get rid of it at 30, and it got to that 29.95 or 29.98, I think it was, and then had a big pullback, especially on Bitfinex, got to 21.70. I was looking for that 20 bucks that I had put in a low ball offer for, and that would have been nice if it actually hit that 20 bucks, and then woke up this morning to see it at 26. But even if you got in at 21.75 or even 22 bucks, still a nice little profit at 4 bucks for it to get up to 26. So we'll see if Ethereum Classic is going to make a bigger run up to that 10 bucks I've been saying for the past couple of days now that it really belongs in. It doesn't belong in this current level that it's at. But I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I don't know who we have on this live stream, but if you're new, don't be shy. Say what's up. So we're going to definitely pay attention to Ripple today. Considering I can trade it for USD, it's perfect. I don't have to use shady Poloniex. But we'll see if she gets that 25 level that I'm looking for. And I'm going to let her come to me. I'm not going to chase her. I'm going to wait for her to actually come to me. And that's the best way of getting a nice entry, is just being patient with it. And really all it needs is just, one massive sell-in, one large candlestick, one large wick to kind of bring it right back down to that support level. And it bounced off of it twice. It bounced off of it, when they first listed it, where it came down from about 36 down straight to 25. And I mean, it was just a massive sell-in that was going on. And then early this morning, it hit a nice level of that 25 again. So we'll see if my 25001 will get executed. But let's take a look and see exactly where these buyers and sellers are stacking up. Now, when you're looking at Ripple, I mean, looking at something that's 30, 40,000 coins in the order book is really nothing. You want to look for something bigger, over 100,000, 200,000. Those are the big buys that I'm kind of looking for. So we have 150,000 here, and it is one person looking to purchase 150 at 27.156. 421,000, and there's 16 buyers at 25 cents. And then I am right above them. So for me to put in that 0.25001, and there's two of us that are looking to purchase a total of 46,000, and I think about 38,000 of that is probably something I'm looking to buy. I think that's what I put the order in for. So that's a good amount of support, sitting right exactly at that 25-cent level. And that's basically where it bounced from twice. So a lot of people are basically stacking up right at that price point. So for me to try to get in ahead of them is actually pretty good. Let's see if we got any other big orders in the book. Omar, welcome, buddy. Hope you had a great weekend. 145,000, there's 7 of them, 0.2, 130,000 at 15 cents for those. 4 buyers at 131,000 at 10 cents. Whew, I don't know if it'll get down to that low. I mean, it might, but I don't think it'll get down to that low today. So that's probably going to sit in the book for an extended period of time. So yeah, so those are all basically the buyers that we have sitting there, and it's about 1.5 billion. Actually, I'm sorry, 1.5 million that's looking to be bought up total. And then on the sell side, let's see what the total is. On the sell side, about a little over a million, 1.09 million. But let's see where the big sellers are stacked up. All right, one seller, 100,000 at 31 cents. Yeah, 15,000. That's not much. $131,000. There's 11 of them at 40 cents. See, I'm going to assume that a lot of them are probably going to be stacked up right at the resistance. And I think that was about 47 cents, something to that extent. Or maybe 48. Not too many. I'm surprised. I am really surprised. Let's see, we're getting a nice jump here on sellers. Not too many sellers are wanting to get rid of this. I mean, it basically jumps up from $1.50 to about $2.15. But the amount that they're looking to sell is nothing. I mean, 25 and 90. That's not much at all. So really, it's just that one big seller that's probably going to be holding the price down, but we'll see. Where is he? 100,000 at 31 cents. Volume has definitely returned though, which is good for Ethereum Classic. I mean, before it was struggling with volume, but now it's up to 1.5 million. That's actually pretty good. The other one that's been impressive is really, I mean, Zcash. I mean, for it to get up to $160, that's just crazy. I never expected Zcash to get up to 160 at all. I mean, Dash is still struggling. I mean, it's still 106. I mean, that's pretty impressive for Dash. But I mean, for Zcash to really completely take over, yeah, I didn't expect that at all. One bit. But I think Litecoin is definitely struggling. It just cannot seem to break out above that 30 and maintain it. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. I do appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button, as well as the post notification bell. And at the bottom of this video, there are ways to stay connected with us. And there are links to our website as well as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat. Definitely sign up for our mailing list. Like I stated earlier, we will be giving away a free membership to our Slack chat. But I think this morning when I woke up, we were basically 2 subscribers short of 600. I mean, in less than 5 months, I started this YouTube channel basically January 1st. So in less than 5 months to get close to 600, that's impressive. So thank you guys for subscribing. I do appreciate that. Yeah, we'll see if the subscriber count grows with Bitcoin growing. Let's see what is going on today on Poloniex. I know Redcoin. I don't think ECS is on this, but Redcoin had a crazy pump. I mean, from 5, 6 satoshis, maybe getting down to 3 satoshis, and then hitting. What did it hit? Like 130, I think. For Doji to be, I'm sorry, not Doji. Doji also had a pump too. But Redcoin, I mean, that's just been impressive. I think they got Redcoin all the way up to 80. Let me take a look at my other monitor. 84 satoshis from 3, 4, 5 satoshis to 84 satoshis. So, I mean, if you guys are holding Redcoin, I mean, if you even thought about buying Redcoin and you bought it just to hold and see what happens, I mean, you definitely got rewarded. Huge. I never expected it to get up to that point, though, to be honest with you guys. But money is definitely flowing into these altcoins that were worth nothing. I mean, they were just worth, under 100 satoshis. A lot of money has flown into them. DGB is one of them. Doji, I think Doji's 130. They got up to 190 almost. From 30 satoshis that it was just kind of hovering and sitting there. So people are definitely, getting money out of some of these altcoins, and Pivx is probably one of them. I mean, people are pulling money out of Pivx and putting them into something else that has a potential to move. And if everybody has the same thought, and they're looking at these really crap coins that are worth nothing and just sitting there and pretty stagnant for a while, not moving, and people pile in. I mean, it only really takes one person to really start getting it to move, and then people see the move to the upside and start jumping in and just basically adding fuel to the fire for it to move up to the upside. So that's pretty huge. But let's go ahead and take a look at Poloniex. Of course, Zcash, impressive. And Ethereum just keeps going up. I mean, there's really nothing slowing it down at all. It's like I said, it's defied every logic. So I really couldn't even tell you how high it's going to get. I do remember talking to somebody about Ethereum though, and I forget who it was. Somebody in our Slack chat, might have been Luke, and we were talking about how really Ethereum should be, a quarter to at least half of the value of Bitcoin. There's no reason that it hasn't gotten to that point, and I'm sure it will later on. With all the crazy things that are happening with Ethereum and how it's being adopted everywhere, it's definitely going to be worth a lot more than what it's worth now. But please don't take that as an advice to buy it at this current level. I mean, somebody asked me at like 118 what I thought about it, and I was like, ooh, it's high. It's too high. And then what do you know? It gets up to 184. So, hopefully they didn't take my advice when I said it's too high, and they didn't buy in, and they had every intentions to buy in. So, don't take my advice as a trading advice. If you feel comfortable getting into a trade, follow your gut instinct. Because if that person got into 118, they definitely made a good amount of money. But you guys are being quiet in the chat. All right, so let's see what else is going on. Sorry I had to mute the mic for a little bit. But yeah, we were actually looking at Poloniex. Doji 128. So Doji's coming down from that high that it actually hit. But there was a chart that I wanted to kind of show you guys. Let's see if I can find Ripple. Here it is. Actually, probably on the USD side or USDT. And actually, USDT has made a comeback from that low of 91 cents. I think it's actually in pair now with the US dollar, 1-for-1. But taking a look at Ripple, when I was actually looking at this the other day, and it had actually only gotten to that peak, and it was starting to come down just a little bit, and I was kind of really looking at it and analyzing it and being like, what does this remind me of? And it took me a little while to look at it, but I was like, man, this reminds me exactly of Bitcoin, how Bitcoin made that just huge jump, came down, and then made another huge jump. But this chart looked exactly like Bitcoin, what it did in the past. Having a little jump. Oops, actually, shouldn't have moved over. Let's see if I can get this chart to cooperate. But yeah, but Bitcoin was worth nothing. Had a nice little bump up, came down, flatlined for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it started running. Back when was that 2013, before the Silk Road incident, or after the Silk Road incident, where it went up to 1100, and then just came down heavily, consolidated for a little while. But yeah, this chart kind of reminds me of that. So there's a possibility that Ripple could come down to that 20-cent level, or possibly even further, to be honest with you. But if I play that 25 cents, it's only going to be from probably 25 cents to 30 cents. But yeah, I mean, it could even come down further. Possibly 22 cents. If it breaks that 22 cents, then we're looking at 15, possibly 15.5 cents. After that, possibly 10 cents. So we'll see exactly how this thing is going to move, but it's definitely downtrending from hitting that high of 42, almost 42.5 cents. But it definitely didn't get down to that 25-cent level that it did on Bitfinex. But we'll see who's going to break 200 first, Zcash or Ethereum. More than likely, I think, with Ethereum being at 176, Zcash is just moving up to 192. I mean, up 76%. But the volume is low. I mean, if we look at the volume, only 13,859 in volume. And that's very low for it to be making this type of move on very low volume. So if we get a big sell-off, if somebody's looking to unload 10,000 Zcash, that's definitely going to drive the price down. There's more that somebody's looking to unload than the actual volume, or close to the actual volume of what it's done overall. That would cause a significant drop. But it's getting close to that 195, 200. Yeah, I never really expected Zcash to get back up to that level. Logan, welcome, buddy. Miners have agreed on segregated witness. Yeah, but that's not doing anything for Litecoin at all. It's probably doing something for Bitcoin, but Litecoin, it's not helping this cause at all. So we'll see. I think as time goes on, we'll see what type of impact segregated witness will have on Litecoin. It'd be nice to see it get back up to above that 30. But I think it's trying to find its place. Duke, welcome, buddy. Yeah, great day for Ethereum. I think it's been a great 3, 4, maybe 5 days. When I bought it at 76, well, I mean, you guys know that I've been, buying Ethereum, buying it and selling it, buying it and selling it, back in the day. Or seems like it's back in the day, but it's a very, very short distance ago, a very short time ago. But when I bought it at 76 and I sold at, average price of 88, I was like, ooh, this is great. I'm like, I'm taking a nice profit on this. And then what do you know? It's like, whoa, what is it doing? It's just breaking out, continuously breaking out with, little minor pullbacks here and there, but they're not major pullbacks at all. That's impressive. So a lot of new money just piling up, to be honest with you. Or, somebody's coming out from some of these coins like Pivx, and going to Ethereum, as well as going to Ethereum Classic, Bitcoin. But a lot of money is being pumped. I haven't really been paying attention to the overall market cap, but I mean, it's growing. But I mean, where is the top is the question, and we're going to be stuck, buying at the top. So, my goal is to just kind of, take profit on the way up, as much as I can, hold a little bit, in the hopes that it keeps pumping up. But, I'm going to have to be in cash majority of the time, waiting for the bigger dip that's going to happen. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And I don't want to be caught, holding at the top, and 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, they decided to bring it down heavily and not even walk it down. It'll be a coordinated attack, and when it happens, I think a lot of these altcoins that have been moving, the popular altcoins that have been moving, we'll see a drastic drop. Boosted LOL, welcome, buddy. You're sitting on 250 LTC. Feels bad, man. Why does it feel bad that you have 250? That shouldn't be bad. Well, it all depends, I guess, what price you bought it at. Then yes, you can feel bad, if you bought it at a higher price. But I mean, I bought it at 24.58, and I got rid of a little bit. I got rid of a third at 28.99. But no, dude, I don't feel bad. Now, if you bought at 30, yes, that might be a whole different story. But it is having a hard time breaking above that 30, and that's kind of what I was looking to sell. The other 100 that I had left over, but it really got to that 29.95. I think it couldn't break out above the 30, and they pulled it back heavily. I mean, they pulled it back to 2150, I think it was, on Bitfinex, and pulled it back to 2250 on Coinbase or GDAX. Nobody uses Litecoin. Yeah, I mean, I use it as a trading vehicle. That's it. That's about what a lot of these altcoins are good for. Trade them, but I don't think they have a true store of value or even a transfer of value like Bitcoin does. I think Bitcoin has both of them. It has a transfer of value as well as a store of value. So then having that transfer of value is huge, and that's what I think is causing Bitcoin to go up higher, because people have to buy Bitcoin in order to transfer them to an exchange to be able to buy other altcoins. Or people are converting their altcoins into Bitcoins because their altcoin has gone up so high, and then they're able to accumulate more Bitcoins because the price of Bitcoin has also gone up. So they're definitely winning both ways, which is good. You bought at 24 through 28, but it's not going nowhere. Just can't break out. Yeah, it had a hard time breaking out above that 30. But I think once it does break out above that 30, it'll break out with a vengeance. I think it was what time? Let's see. But it got to 28.68, and it all depends what exchange you're looking at. I'm looking at Coinbase right now, and it got to 28.68. It looks like yesterday at 8:30. 8:30 in the morning, and then from there on, it just really grinded downwards to 2250 on GDAX and a little lower on Bitfinex. Sometimes, you just got to be patient with it, to be honest with you. Um, you know, and I wanted to add more. I was expecting that $20, but it got to 21 and change. So if it would have hit $20, I would have been good. I would have purchased, I think it was like 500 more that I was looking to buy. And that's why I canceled my Ripple at 25 cents. But yeah, Ripple would have definitely hit, and that would have been a nice gain to right up to 30. Would it get up to 32 and a half, something to that extent from 25? So that would have been a good payday for today. I'm still going to keep an eye on it though to see exactly what it does. But it could have a nice pullback. Logan, I bet you're excited about your Ethereum holding from back in the day, as well as Bitcoin. I mean, you bought those when they were dirt cheap. I think from what I remember, you bought Ethereum at 71 pence, which is equivalent to 71 cents or something to that extent. But yeah, those holdings are definitely paying off for you, and I hope you stacked up on them. Hold all the way. I don't know if I would hold all the way. I mean, if you're saying hold all the way, you're going to hold all the way down to 10? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I don't think it's going to get there anytime soon. But, like I said, when this balloon pops, everything's going to come down. It will. I mean, look what happened. I mean, this kind of reminds me of, the tech bubble of 2000, the dot-com bubble. In 2000, things were just skyrocketing. Everything was going up. Everything was dandy. Everything was great. And then boom, what do you know? It all came crashing down at the least expected time. And a lot of people got caught and got caught on the wrong side of the trade. Yeah, dude, those are some good buys, man. Good buys, Logan. Good buys, man. You were one of the early adopter. Yeah, Duke. I don't know if you got my message. I wrote you an actual Facebook, not Facebook, sorry, a YouTube message. But what did it say? Let me try to do this again. Yeah, because I don't think they were accepting any type of transfers from a mining pool or an exchange. And I got to get my 2FA to be able to log in. So, Duke, in order for you to send Ripple, you need the tag ID or tag number. And basically, the error that I get is if it says if the tag is not included in your transfer, they cannot credit the account. And then, to please not directly deposit from an exchange or pool unless they allow you to specify a tag. So if they allow you to specify a tag, then I can give you that tag number. But to send it to Bittrex, there's really no way unless they do allow you to send that tag number. So if you say yes, I can include a tag number, then yes, it'll go through. If not, then we can try sending it to Poloniex. I don't really want to send it to Poloniex, but if that's really the only place we can send it to, and you still want to make that deposit, that's really the only option we have. But let me know if it allows you to include the tag number. Yeah, I mean, with F, it's just if there's new money coming in, Duke. Um, and like I said earlier, I mean, this has defied all logics. Same thing with Bitcoin; they both have defied all logics. Um, when it was at 118 last Friday, somebody asked me, if it's a good time to buy. I said personally, I think it's high. But what do you know? It gets up to 184 on GDAX. But yeah, it's too high, too fast that it's just running up, and that's just it's a little scary. It's scary because now people are going to start chasing, thinking, you know what, this is just going to keep going up forever, and they don't keep going forever. And I think once that dump happens, it'll happen. It's just a matter of trying to figure out, okay, you know what, if I'm going to take a position, where is a good spot to take a position? Because I mean, this thing could come tanking back down to 82 bucks easily. Not overnight, not in one day, but it could gradually start grinding downwards. Yeah, if you can include the tag number, let me see if I can. I don't know if you still have it, but I'll include the tag number. So that's a tag number, and then the address. And if that doesn't work, I mean, worst case scenario, we could send it to Bitfinex, but I'd rather not send it to Bitfinex because I'm trading from that account. And since you're making that donation, I don't want to trade any donation that you put through. But I am looking to get into Ripple, even though I don't think Ripple is going to be a good long-term investment. But just to scalp it quick, if it gets to that 25, and that's exactly what it did. It got to 25 at 4:45 this morning, and then went all the way up to 32. So if I could try to capture that type of move again, well, not again because I attempted to, it didn't happen. But if I would have been able to capture that type of move, that's 2,200 bucks. And I mean, that's my weekly goal. It's way over my weekly goal that I'm looking to make. So I would be definitely happy with that trade. So we'll sit back and kind of see if it does hit that 25 and get a nice bounce up. And if it does, that's great. I'll take profits. But it could easily dip to that 20, unfortunately. They're paying 20% more for BTC in China or Japan. Wow, that's a huge premium. Is that on, because Bitflyer, I think, is the biggest exchange in Japan. And I did a video a long time ago about how they were really starting to overtake China in volume for BTC. And they really did. I haven't really, monitored it recently to see, where volume is higher, if it's back, back in China now, or if Japan was really starting to take over. And they were at one point where Bitflyer really was starting to take a lot of the volume. Zcash going to the moon. Yeah, it's impressive. It is impressive. I mean, I watched that. I watched it grind down to nothing, like 22 bucks. And then slowly but surely, it's just started grinding up. And then, yeah, it's impressive for it to be at one. Oh wow, it hit 279. Okay, see, that's crazy. I just looked at it earlier, and I was saying, you know what? I wonder what we'll get to 200 first, whether it's going to be Zcash or it's going to be Ethereum. It was at 195. For it to get to 267 on 18,000 in volume, yeah, that's a little scary. I know the float is not high, and usually on something that doesn't have a lot of float, which is basically the available supply, and people are buying it up, it's all supply and demand. The demand is there for people to buy it, and the supply is not there, and it's just going to keep going up higher and higher. Wow, 260, impressive. Yeah, who knew? I mean, who knew that Ethereum would get up that high? Same thing with Zcash. I think if we all knew, we would have been piling in to those trades and not selling at all. But it's just hard to determine, when things are going to start moving. But yeah, if the bubble is getting closer, it's getting closer now, in my opinion. I mean, 125% for Zcash, it's crazy. I mean, Dash getting back up to its all-time high. Yeah, this is it's definitely a bubble, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It hasn't popped yet, but it will pop. It's just a matter of when is it going to pop. Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy world in the crypto space. I forget somebody bought like 200,000 Ripple. It might have been Abdullah. I don't think he's on this today. But yeah, he had just ordered a Tesla Model S, I think, from his profits. I mean, he was probably an early buyer at under a penny. All right, Ripple down to 25. I'm sorry, I wish 28 cents. So let's see if I can get an entry at 28 cents. I'm sorry, at 25 cents. I did say in the previous video that, if I got to 27, 26, I was like, I would consider it. I would look at it. Considering I got to 25, I was like, it's not a bad entry at all. Bitcoin Unlimited has got a little bit of volume now, 138 in volume. Bitcoin Core, of course, 0 in volume, but the price has gone up to 1,850. And this is really the only exchange on Bitfinex that I've seen Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Unlimited available for trading, which is just kind of weird that it's the only exchange that has it. When I first saw this, I was like, did the fork happen? Was I not notified? But did they, I think somebody said, did they sneak this just underneath us without telling us? Yeah, Litecoin is definitely struggling on Bitfinex. There's basically a difference of almost 80 cents between Coinbase and Bitfinex, where Coinbase is or GDAX, where GDAX is higher. It's usually the complete opposite. So I could do a little bit of arbitrage. I mean, that's why I moved the coins over from GDAX to Bitfinex, was to do arbitrage because it was higher, and I did sell a little bit at a higher price. But now the tides have turned where it's higher on GDAX, so I might have to actually transfer the coins back. But last time it took 4.5 hours, and I don't know if I'm willing to risk 4.5 hours and in hopes that still higher on Coinbase or GDAX. But yeah, Doji looks like it's flatlining a little bit at that 122. But we'll see. I don't know. We'll see if they take Doji to the same place that some of these cryptocurrencies have gone to. From basically nothing to 500 satoshis. Let's see. It's saying invalid destination tag. That is weird. Let's try Bitfinex. And I'll just have to make sure to kind of put a very high sell order on those 100, just so I don't touch them. So Duke, it's still going to require, it looks like, a tag. We'll see what it does. All right, so I'll send you the address first, and then we'll do the tag. Sound is gone. All right, it's back, so that's good. Scott, welcome, buddy. Thank you for joining. Let me know what you guys are trading today, if you guys are even trading anything. But I think, the only thing I'll kind of be keeping an eye on is for a possible position is definitely Litecoin. Ripple, if it gets that 25. I would like to see Litecoin get back down to that 20. It'd be nice. I mean, even though I'm holding a little bit at a higher price at 24.58, I'll still hold on to those for a little bit. But now if it gets up to that 28.99, I'll be looking to sell just to get rid of it because it is having a nice swing. I mean, from 28.68 to 22.50, that's a big $6 swing. And ETC, I mean, ETC could break that 10. It definitely could. And for it to make it to 910, yeah, of course, it's going to have a nice little pullback. And it pulled back to 777, and then possibly 780, it looks like, or 790. But I think with ETC and what I have, the 125, I'm definitely going to hold because those were purchased at $4.30. I don't think I'm going to be getting rid of those at all. And I do have let's see if I have a sell order for those. Yeah, 1430 as a sell order, just so I don't end up selling it. And then another 125 at 17 bucks. These two that are 125 were purchased at $7. So if it gets up to that 10, I'll be looking to get rid of the 125, but then keep another 125, considering they were purchased at 7. And if it gets up to that price point. All right, we're getting close on Ripple. Are there any must buys today? I don't know if there's any must buys. I'm definitely keeping an eye out on Ripple to see if she comes down to that 25-cent level that I'm looking at, which I almost got into it this morning if I had kept my open order in the book, but I canceled it before going to bed. But I was saying earlier that 25 would have been nice because it made it right back up to 32. So we'll see. I mean, there's a good support at 25, considering this is the second time that it dipped to 25. But you got to remember though, this is Bitfinex, and it was just listed on Bitfinex recently. So it's definitely made a lower low than Poloniex. Poloniex only got to 27. So we'll see if we can get a nice little bump. I mean, basically, if I get it at 25 for every penny that it goes up, it's 315 bucks that I'm making. So Duke, let's see, you sold ETC, I'm assuming for profit, and bought some Ethereum. I'm not sure. Hopefully you didn't buy at 184. Let me see. That was earlier this year. So I'm hoping you're still holding on to Ether then. I didn't read the whole question actually before I said, I hope you didn't buy it at 184. But yeah, I mean, you bought Ether at 13 and 15 bucks and still holding on to it. That's impressive. Yeah, a lot of these altcoins have gone, tenfolds. It's crazy. I mean, 1,000% profit. I mean, that's huge. That is huge. I mean, put in 5,000, you're getting 50 grand. But yeah, I think once short sellers start piling in, it's going to cause a massive, massive crash. I think right now they're sitting on the sideline. I mean, if anybody shorted at 100, 120, 140, 150, 160, yeah, they're paying the price if they didn't cut their loss early. Because what some traders will do is, as the price moves against them and starts going up, because really, if you're shorting and the price goes up higher, it is moving against you. What some traders will do is they'll add more to that short position. They'll add, another short position at 140, and it goes up. They'll add another short position, and I mean, they're just getting fried. They're adding to a losing trade as it keeps going up higher and higher and higher. Eventually, they're going to have to cut their loss, or they're going to fall below the threshold, and the exchange is going to liquidate that account. Did it hit 600 subs? Nice. Yeah, it was at 598 this morning, and I mean, I think when I was talking to you guys on Wednesday, we were at 535. So I mean, that's a huge jump from 535 to 600. Yeah, and that's less than 5 months, 600 subs. So I mean, thank you guys for subscribing. I definitely appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification so you're notified every time a video is uploaded or I schedule a live stream. Yeah, but this is basically the chart that we have on Ripple on Bitfinex. So you don't really have much history to it, considering it was just listed. And I think it was a little shady when they listed it because it wasn't available to trade. But it was available to trade for probably the high net worth individuals that are transacting on Bitfinex as well as the company Bitfinex. probably getting tons of Ripple coins listed at a high price, and they probably started selling and drove the price down to exactly 25 cents. And what do you think they were probably doing at that 25 cents? Buying up everything that they could to get it to go right back up to that 35, 30, actually 37. We got up to from 25 to 37, and then back down to 25, and then back up to 32 and a half, almost 33. Yeah, somebody's making a killing off of this. But even though Ethereum Classic is up 16.5% on Bitfinex, it's still lagging. It's lagging considering it's not above that 10 or even close to that 10. Considering other ones are just making crazy moves to the upside. But Zcash, wow. I think that has surprised a lot of people. Let's take a look at Doge real quick, because this is probably the cheapest coin to buy on Poloniex, even though it might be a scam. And I don't think it's a long-term hold. But what did it get up to? I think 180, 189. Let's see if it's gearing up for another push to the upside. Definitely not. Definitely downtrending currently. But yeah, but if you guys caught this early, I mean, even if you caught it at 50, and sold at 150, that's a 200% profit. And I don't think you need to be greedy on this one. With a 200% profit, that's huge. If you're greedy thinking it would hit 300 or even 200, then yeah, it's going to turn back on you because it really got down to they hit 100, 108 is what it leveled at. So we'll see if 108 is going to be a very good support for this to come down. And I'm not buying this yet unless there's a good momentum that's to the upside. But this could break all barriers, just like every other cryptocurrency has done, defy every logic that's out there. And I think people are looking for cheap coins to buy and hold. But that 108, 100 looks pretty good. Andreas, welcome, buddy. Could I give some ETC candy? I can teach you how to trade, and you can make your own ETC candy. But I don't know, I might do a contest later on, not today, not anytime soon. That's something I got to think about. But we'll probably do a contest to give away some coins. Now, it won't be a lot, depending on how many we're giving away to how many people, but that's something that I'll probably work on later on. So you just got to keep joining. But no, I will not be giving away any ETCs at the moment, but later on, possibly. So a lot of things in the red today. Poloniex. I mean, the other day everything was just about in the green. A couple of things in the red, but the only really things that are in the green: Zcash, Bitcoin. I mean, it's not too many to choose from. It's the biggest loser. Digibyte. Yeah, of course. DGB. 37%. Coin 32% down. It looks like yesterday's winners are today's losers. I should have made that the title of this video. Yeah, it looks like everything that was kind of going up nice, is definitely pulling back at the moment. And I think the pullback has something to do with Zcash going up. Money's flowing into Zcash, flowing into Ethereum, Ethereum Classic. Not much flowing into Litecoin though at the moment. Ah, all right, Andreas, I got you. I got you, buddy. Um, but no, what you actually stated, I mean, later on, that is something I'm going to work on. I'll give it away, especially to some of the viewers that are constantly here all the time that have been followers for a long time. We'll do a little bit of contest. Maybe I'll ask a question, and then you got probably 2 minutes once the video has actually been uploaded to YouTube to go in and comment and tell me what the answer is. And the first person that would probably know the answer to it, probably give away some coins. I don't know how much, but we'll see. But yeah, we could do a little bit of analysis on Ethereum Classic. I do have a position in Ethereum Classic, and I don't know what exchange you're trading from, but we'll kind of look at it on Bitfinex. Actually, did you ask for Litecoin or Ethereum Classic? Ethereum Classic. Okay. And I don't know if you watched any of my previous videos, but I bought this a couple of days ago. I bought 500 and sold about 375 at different price points for a profit. Kept 125 from the $4.30 purchase, and then I purchased a good amount, 1,071 at $7, and I got rid of about 821 at different price points for profit. Not as much of a profit that I wanted, um, but I kind of got tired of waiting for this thing to break out because that 780 was just really giving it a hard time, and that's why I decided to lock in some profit just in case it hit that 780 and pulled back. But what do you know? What usually happens to a lot of traders happened to me, and it's happened many times in the past. You hold on to something, it doesn't get to your price point that you're looking at. Once you sell it, then it actually gets up to the price point that you were looking at. So I have a little bit left from that $7 purchase, about 250 left. So we'll see what it does, but let's do a little bit analysis. Let's see where this thing could really pull back down to. I can't tell you how high it's going to go. I mean, I'm looking for $10. That's what I'm looking for, to get rid of 125, and then I'm going to hold 250, 125 that I purchased at 430, and then the other 125 from the $7 purchase. And I think I'll be holding those for a good amount of time because I do have capital freed up to be able to trade on other things now. But yeah, how high it could go, who knows? But it's got to break out above, of course, its high today, and that was $9.10. And considering it's not that far off, it definitely has the ability to do it. And it does look like it's flagging, so we might have a nice little flag pattern happening here. But we will see. Let's draw out some lines. So that's going to be our upward momentum, upward trend line. I didn't put it out too far. But this is basically where it's flagging. So we'll see. We'll see if it hits that wedge and gets a nice bounce up to the $9 range. Um, if this thing really starts going like it did yesterday from $7, basically, actually lower than $7, looks like 686 to 910. I mean, if this thing really breaks above that 910 and it breaks out with a good amount of volume and not just break out a little bit and come right back down and kind of consolidate and hover above that 910 or even below that 910, yeah, it's not going to have that big of a movement. But if she breaks out like she did when she broke out, to 7 and then broke 750, hit that 780, broke out above the 8 that really gave it a resistance. And as we know right now, it's coming down to that 8, so we'll see if that's a very good support for it. But if it breaks that down, then we could definitely see that $7 tested again. And if it does test a 7, I would be looking to take another position at that $7 price point, because now I know what it can possibly do and get up to that 910. A profit from $7 to 910 is pretty good, especially if I'm purchasing 1,000 coins. All right, so let's get some resistance on here. Actually, support. Resistance we already know. I mean, it's got to get above that 910. But that 770 gave it a hard time. So 770, it's got to stay above that 770. So 770 is going to be the first support. And if it breaks down that 770, let's take a look and see how far it could break down further. $7. So that $7 is also going to be very crucial. So we'll make that in red. So if she gets down that 7, I would be looking at supporting it there. After the 7, let's take a look. Right around the 650. So, and then after that, basically, we're going to be looking at 575-ish. Now, I don't think she'll get there anytime soon, but that is a level to kind of watch out for. And that's if she starts breaking all support. And they do sometimes do that. Major sell-off happens, especially if, you got to pay attention to the order book. What's on the sell side, what's on the buy side. That will kind of give you a better indication once you draw out these support lines if they're actually accurate, where there are buyers that are going to be supporting it and there aren't major sellers sitting at that price point as well too. But 575 is going to be very crucial. All right, those are basically our resistance. I'm sorry, our support. So we got to see exactly, if she does come down, what is she going to come down to? But it seems to be hovering right above that 8, which is good. And I mean, she has gotten pulled down, especially if we can see, right here, the first time she actually got pulled down and got pulled right to 777. And that's just a longer wick, but it came right back up above that 8 and closed above that 8. So that's with this first red candle, even with this green candle here, it's a hammer. It basically got pulled down below the $8 to 789, came right back up and closed above that 8. So that 8 is going to be a very important level. And I don't know why got moved. Let's see if I can move it back down. So she's got to maintain that $8. That is huge, because basically that $8 was a prior resistance, and it was a crazy resistance. It could not break out above it. And when it did try to break out above it, I mean, she got sent back down where she came from. So it's going to be very crucial that she maintains that $8 and stays above it. Let's see, Andreas, what he's saying. Definitely not Polo. No, yeah. You got to be very careful of Poloniex. Holding most of you're holding most of your coins on your Nano. Keeping about 170 in Jacks for trading. It's pretty good, pretty smart. ETC seems to have a hard time keeping above 400K, so 400,000 Satoshis, I'm assuming, right? Not volume. Yeah, I haven't really looked at the BTC pair. Let's see if she actually even broke out above the 400K. Yeah, that's going to be a good resistance. And actually, I mean, if we look at back, let's see what the date on this is. May 8th, it looks like it hit that 41,000. Let's just say 41,000 or 400 and 414, 415,000. And then if we really look close on the right-hand side here, that's where a lot of the fighting happened between the bulls and the bears for control of price action. So, I mean, if you're really looking at this chart and looking at the overall picture of this chart, you would have seen that 42, was going to be pretty strong. I mean, the 40 is going to be pretty strong. But then after that, if she does push up, for Ethereum Classic, plus 485,000, and then above, and then possibly 54,000, 550,000. But that might just take a little bit of time. But yeah, this candlestick, this chart looks like my 7-year-old son just driving my car. Just up and down swings. Nothing really consistent that we're seeing, especially here. Just a nice move, gradual grind to the upside, slowly, grinds up, pulls back down. And after a nice pull back down, I would like to see it kind of slowly but surely grind back up to that resistance, and that's exactly what it did. It grinded back up to that resistance, got pulled right back down. But some of these swings are pretty big. So when it does tank, it's gonna have a nice pullback. It's not going to be a gradual decline. But ETC should definitely be at $10, or at least have hit 10 by now and had a pullback, to maybe 850 or 9. It should have. But we'll see what she does. I'm trying to see if I see any patterns. Definitely a nice cup, a handle, but the breakout was nothing great. That's more of a fake out. But we'll see. I might, before going to bed, I might put in a low ball offer on this one, right to that 575 range. And I'm not putting that low ball offer, thinking that it's going to get there. I'm hoping that it'll get there. I don't think it will though, but I've gotten lucky a couple times by putting in a low ball offer, and I really have nothing to lose. It's either going to execute or it's not. More than likely, it's not going to execute. ETC lunch in 1 hour. So you think it's going to pump up? Possible FOMO, and that's what I think happened. When it basically hit that 525, I think the low was, and it slowly but surely grinded up, but then kept on getting pulled back down. I think at $7, and people are seeing that. Okay, you know what? It's attempting to make new highs now. It's hit that. What was the price point that it hit? 770. I took profit at 740, and then I took profit at 775. Right up here. So I took my first profit, before it hit that 770 and got pulled back down. Second profit, I kind of put it to 775, and I said, if it's going to break out above that 770 resistance, where it basically got pushed back twice that it attempted, I said, there's a possibility that the wick will get it to 775, and what do you know? It just completely broke out. So me selling at that 775 was a wrong time to sell. And basically, I was looking at that order book when that happened, and the order book really didn't have too many buyers, and a buyer came in and just started buying up tons of coins at the market level. So he or she or they were basically sitting on the sideline, watching it break out above the 770. And once it broke out above the 770, that's when they realized, okay, you know what, there's nice upward momentum. I'm going to hit that market buy order. And they just started buying out tons of coins, which caused this nice little pump up to the upside. So that's something you really have to consider as well too. Who's sitting on the sideline waiting for it to break that 770. And once it broke that 770, they had the confirmation that it had broke that resistance and they were going to get in, and that's what caused the price jump. Now they possibly would have sold, is what I'm thinking, because they were buying tons of them, and that's what caused this dip here, and then a nice rise, and then a dip back. But yeah, so anybody that's really looking at this chart and looking for an opportunity to get in for a possible pump, they're really paying attention to that 770 level very closely to see if that broke. Now it could have easily gotten to that 770 and gotten pulled back, but I mean, looking at these candlesticks here, there was really no indication of a pullback. And that person sitting there and hitting that market buy just added fuel to this fire, to this upside here. So I got out at 775, which yeah, was a profit, but it could have been a higher profit. My crypto journey, what is up? Yeah, things are going well, man. Hope everything's well with you. I think anybody that's in the cryptocurrency, market right now is doing pretty well. Everything's going up. So really, whatever you buy, it's going up. But when's that tide going to turn? And that's a scary part. Not knowing when the tide's going to turn. I mean, look at Pivx. I think I looked at Pivx earlier. Let me go back. I'm actually looking at this on a different screen, so I'm not sharing the screen with you guys. So I do apologize. But let's see what Pivx did. The crazy thing about Pivx is, when it was making, its all-time highs, breaking out above 2, that's when the chatter was. People were just constantly talking about it. I can't even remember how many times, people asked me about Pivx and for me to buy Pivx when it was at like $2. I remember somebody sending me a message, I forget on what video it was, asking me to take a look at it and to buy it. And I never got involved in Pivx. But let's see what it did. I think it broke under 40,000 Satoshis. So got to 36,833. So let's just say 36,800 Satoshis. I mean, that's a drop. But then, I mean, if you played this very closely and in a half an hour chart within an hour, you would have basically made, almost 10,000 Satoshis from 36,800 to 46,900, almost 47,000 Satoshis. So I think it's just a little fake out. I don't think there's anything major that's going to be happening with Pivx in the sense of upside to the upside. I'm definitely going to be looking at Pivx now that it's at this low to see if it's going to start consolidating or just moving sideways. And once it starts moving sideways, then I think I would kind of consider looking at it a little more for an entry. And that could be possibly a long-term hold. I don't think this is something I would trade, to be honest with you guys. If I take a position, especially if I'm able to get in, in the 10,000 range, that's it's gonna be a long-term hold. And then possibly, just put in a very high sell order in case you do have that crazy pump. And that high sell order would probably be somewhere in the range of 180,000 Satoshis. So we'll see if she gets to 10,000 Satoshis. Yeah, I would take a position. But that all depends on what is the chart doing. What is it telling me? Is it curving up, or is it just consolidating? Because it could consolidate for a little while once it finds its happy medium. Duke is saying your Polonius altcoins are mostly going down. Well, yeah, today's a red day. But overall, Duke, I mean, you should be up. I mean, I don't think there's really, except for Pivx, I haven't looked at all the other altcoins, but I think, majority of the popular altcoins, or even the ones that were pretty stagnant, I mean, Doji, Siacoin, they're all up. So, I mean, even anybody, anybody that really had no clue about trading, but was just like, all right, I have a platform, I can buy. I don't know anything about candlesticks. I don't know anything about trading. A couple months ago, they just started buying and holding. They're definitely being rewarded. Now that could definitely come back crashing on them if they're not taking profits. But a lot of people made a lot of money if they were holding. But as a trader, it's very hard to hold something if you're looking at it on a day-to-day basis. But if you're a long-term investor, you buy it, you kind of just leave it and forget about it. Hopefully, you don't forget about it too long, where the pump happens and then it comes right back down. But yeah, a lot of red on Poloniex today. Too much red. I think everybody's probably trying to pump Bitcoin up to that 2,500. So Zcash is coming down a little bit as Dash is being pumped up. I mean, Dash is even impressive. 25% today, $123. You know, it was just at what, 85, $88 just a couple days ago. You know, I think the problem with buying into Dash and buying into Zcash at a high price, especially if you're not going to really heavily leverage a good amount of capital, is that you're not going to make much. You know, if you buy, you know, let's just say you buy, you know, 5 Dash, and it goes up $10. I mean, that's significant for it to go up $10. Yes, I mean that is impressive. But you know, you're making $50. Whereas if you know, if you had the capital and you bought 100, you know, you're making $1,000. So leverage is definitely key to making a good profit. I mean, if you're buying just a little bit of Ripple, you know, and it goes up that 7 cents, you know, you're not going to make much. But if you buy, you know, tens of thousands, then yeah, the profit is definitely going to be there when it gets up to that price point. But yeah, LTC needs to make a move up. So I'm basically down 25 cents per coin, $25 on LTC on the current holding that I have, but I did sell a third of it at a profit. Yeah, Andreas, not a problem, man. Anytime. And yes, family and I are doing very well. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. But yeah, you know, in my opinion, ETC still has a long way to go. It really does. And like I said, you know, if we do get a nice correction, I will definitely be adding to that position that I have. But it's got to correct though. I don't think I would buy it at $7, but I would be heavily looking at it when it gets to 7 to see if we're going to have a nice little crash. You know, back down to that hopefully 6, a little under 6 possibly. I mean, if she gets to 6, that's a great entry because we know that she has the ability to get to $9. So purchasing at 6 and you know, riding it up to $9, that's 50% profit. But I'm hoping that Bitfinex actually saves this chart for me. I think it will save this chart. So that on Wednesday when I do a live stream, because I'm going to start doing live streams 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, from 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time Zone to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time Zone. So 2 hours, 3 times a week. So Wednesday when I do a live stream, we'll be able to take a look at this chart and see exactly if the courses, the resistance that I plotted out or the support that I plotted out, have actually held. But yesterday I thought about buying this in the $8 range, just to kind of ride it from 8 to possibly 9, but I never really did it. I was expecting more of a correction than it currently corrected. I mean, it, you know, went up to 910, corrected down to it looks like 825-ish, or actually 795. So that's a nice little correction from 810 to under $8. I'm sorry, 910 to $7.95. Is anybody currently playing Ripple at the moment? If you guys are trading Ripple, let me know. And I really had no intentions of trading Ripple, considering it wasn't even on Bitfinex, and I didn't really trust Poloniex to make a transfer. But when I saw that they actually offered it on Bitfinex, I was like, all right, so this is a sign. It's a lot of people asking me to take a look at it. The past couple videos, it being listed on Bitfinex, and I was like, maybe that's a sign for me to kind of take a position. But it's not a position I would take at this current level here. Like I said, if it dips down to that 25, which is a very good support, then I would be looking into taking a position. And I do have an order in for, what is it, 0.25001. So just a fraction above that 25 cents is what I'm looking to buy it at. And that's about for 31,486 coins. But I hope nobody bought, Ripple at that 42 price point when it started really making a move up. I mean, it's just, that's too high, too fast. It's got to have a correction. And that correction to 25 is actually pretty good. Yeah, you guys are quiet today in the chat. Or are you guys just too focused on Ethereum and Bitcoin, making a crazy leap? But I think the plan for me is to kind of have cash sitting on the sideline, to take profits as much as possible, and really when that bubble bursts, wait to get a bottom entry. But the question at that time is going to be, okay, what, all coins are dropping. What should I take a position in? That's going to be probably the hardest decision to try to figure out when everything just starts dropping heavily. But yeah, thank you for joining, guys. I definitely appreciate you guys sticking with me on this live stream. I think every day that I do these live streams, we get more viewers, and that's awesome. All right, let's take a look at some of the book order on Ethereum Classic. Actually, we'll take a look at Litecoin first. But that's not a bad dip there. That's 21.90. So $20 lowball offer is what I had in the book last night, and then really from that 21.70, made it right back up to 26.30. But let's take a look at this full order book. Well, 2,500, two buyers, $24.19. I don't know if it's going to get to that low. I think it'll probably hit, 27, 28 before it gets to that 24.19. Or maybe not. We'll see. So it looks like somebody's stacking up on 2,500 coin orders at different price points. So 2,500 at 24.19, 2,500 at 23.67, 2,500 at 23.30, 2,500 at 22.83. Those are all one orders, one person, one trader. 2,500 at 8. Let's see. 1850. So these are sellers that are looking to, I'm sorry, buyers that are looking to buy. Lowball offer of 18 bucks. Yeah, and then of course, the lower you get, the more that they become. So let's see where they are on the sell side. Sell side, one person, 2,500 at $25.40. I'm assuming it's the same person that's on the buy side. On the sell side, another 25 at 26.10. It's actually 25.20, and there's two people, so I'm assuming 2,500 is one person, 20 is the other another person. 2,500 at 26.41. Another 2,500 at 26.71 on the sell side. So that's got to be, in my opinion, my speculation, one person that's stacking up on the buy and the sell side. So more than likely, he's trying to get the price to go up. But he's definitely, I don't know, something that kind of draws an alarm is that he has the buy orders kind of spread out. I mean, a difference of, let's see, 24.19 down to 24.30, 90 cents just about. That's a difference of 50 cents. Let's see, Andres is saying he loves seeing Dash doing well. It's a coin that changed your life. He bought it on CCEX when it was dark in 2014, when it was cents. Wow. And at that time, the biggest rival was Zero Cash, which flopped. The early investor paid off tremendously. I mean, if you were buying it when it was pennies, whew, I mean, you got to be a millionaire by now if you bought a lot and you were holding on to it. But yeah, the early adopters. And I mean, you think about it, 2014. That's not that long ago. For the market to be making this type of move. Yeah, I first bought Bitcoin in March 2014, and then I stopped looking at it when Bitcoin's tanking, and I just continued on, trading the traditional financial market until very recently, until somebody mentioned that they were taking their Bitcoin, or they were taking the rest of the money that they have left over from the financial market and moving it over to Bitcoin. And I was like, oh man, I do have Bitcoin. Let me take a look at the price of it. And then I looked at the price and I was like, wow, there's all these other coins to trade and there's a great platform to start utilizing. I was like, I'm moving over. I was like, I'm done with the financial market. But yeah, but I wish I would have still stuck with it in 2014 when I first bought Bitcoin and really adopted cryptocurrency and stayed up to date with all the changes that were happening, because that was really the best time to get in and start investing long term on a lot of these coins. But I mean, who knew? I mean, it was just yesterday that we were watching um, the ETF get denied and the price tanking to 880 bucks. I mean, that was not long ago. And from 880 to basically make it up to 20, almost 2200, insane. All right, Ethereum Classic still holding that that $8 level. We're hovering above that $8 level. I think the next couple of days is going to be a battle between Dash and Zcash to see whoever takes who. I mean, now Zcash has it by just about $80. But you know, I mean, I've seen this before in the financial market where things just get overly inflated. Things that should not be running up are running up like crazy. You know, the tech bubble of 2000, like the dot-com bubble, you know, the financial market crash. Before the financial market crash, I mean, things were just going up like crazy that they should not be going up. And I think it was basically, you know, big money was pumping things because they knew the crash was happening and they were looking to capitalize as much as possible. And you know, when things start going up and they're going up too high and people start chasing and they're getting trapped at that high price, and that's really what big money wants to do. It wants to trap people at a high price. So they'll keep, you know, getting the price to increase and increase and increase. As the price is increasing, new buyers are hopping on and they're selling to the new buyers at a high price. And then once they get rid of everything, they're done and everything comes crashing. And I think that's exactly what is happening currently right now with the cryptocurrency market. You know, everything is just defined, every logic's and going up and up and up, and that crash is going to happen. I mean, you know, if we really compare it to, you know, the financial market crash in 2008, I mean, it came down heavily. And it's going to have a correction, and it's going to have that one big correction that it does every 5 years. And, you know, who knows how long this bull market is going to last for. I mean, it could be a 3-year bull market, and that's it. So that every 3 years, you know, we have a bull market. You know, for the next 2.5 years, we could have a bear market. Is Zcash even short? Let's see what he asked Max. Max, welcome by the way. Is Zcash even worth shorting? That just looks like a pump and dump. I don't know, man. I would be very careful when you're shorting. Like I said, I mean they've been defined every logic. You know, there's no way that Zcash was. I mean, Zcash was just at $80, $90. It broke 100, and I was like, all right, it broke 100. That's great. You know, it's going to come back down, and what do you know? It goes up to 200. You know, so anybody that shorted Zcash at let's just say 110, 120 because they think it was overly inflated, definitely are paying the price at this moment if they didn't cut their loss early. Um, so I don't know, man. I don't think shorting is a good idea. And they could just be pumping this thing, pumping this thing. I mean, you definitely want to wait for a turnaround in all cryptocurrency. You want to start seeing that volume is decreased on the buying side as well as the total market cap decreasing. What is this error I'm getting? But yeah, I think shorting anything right now is a dangerous game. I almost shorted Ethereum at 96. I almost shorted it because that was a strong resistance that I saw. And I was like, it's going to hit 96 and it's going to come back down to possibly 90. I'm like, that's a $6 per coin profit. I'll be happy. Thank goodness I didn't short it at 96. I would have probably covered, you know, but it would have definitely taken some of my capital and I would have sucked. So yeah, I even thought about shorting, and thank goodness I didn't. So I don't know, man. I wouldn't short. I wouldn't short at all in this market at this time. You know, I think you know with Zcash, and I've said this in the past. You know, you can look at my video that I made, and it was somebody really commenting. So it was in the comment section of that video. Somebody said that Zcash was a scam, and they could have been right, but you know, to me, it really doesn't matter if it's a scam or not, as long as it has volatility, it has movement. I was like, I'll trade it, and that's kind of what I told the kid. I was like, you know, I was like, just use it as a trading vehicle. I was like, this is not a long-term investment, but I was like, you know, it's got a very small float. Coins that are the available supply is very low, and on something that's very low and it starts moving, it can definitely move based on supply and demand, and that's exactly what happened. I think when I made that video, it was like it was down to 35 bucks, 40 bucks possibly. Andreas, enjoy ETC while it's in the single digits. Zcash has FOMO right now. JP Morgan teams up with Zcash team. not with Zcash itself. That's interesting. I didn't know JP Morgan was teaming up with Zcash. Maybe that's if that was the news, so people are buying the news or buying the rumor, and they're going to be selling the news possibly. Nexus is best. I don't know. I don't know what Nexus is doing. 7 cents, down almost 8%. I mean, Zcash has definitely come down from its high. I mean, it was up over 100%. But yeah, that could be the reason why Zcash is moving up. I haven't looked up the news, but you know, I mean, if JP Morgan is teaming up with Zcash, yes. I mean, look at the banks that are teaming up with Ethereum, and Ethereum kind of took off. So it might be the same thing with Zcash as well too. That's why I think shorting is a dangerous game in this type of market, and that's why I think we're getting crazy moves to the upside, is because short sellers they've backed off. They are not shorting this market at all currently. So I mean, they're waiting for the perfect opportunity to short, and this is not their opportunity to short currently at the moment. It could be tomorrow, it could be the day after tomorrow, it could be in a week, it could be in a month, who knows? But once shorts start piling in, that's how you know that the market is ready for a turnaround. Because shorts want to buy high, and they want to cover low and pocket the difference. Yeah, if you guys know of a website that tells you how many shorts are stacked up on a cryptocurrency, depending on the exchange, based on an exchange, I mean, please let me know, because that's a very valuable tool to have to determine if there's going to be an upside tick. So that the more shorts that are piling into a cryptocurrency, it's going to cause that cryptocurrency to bottom out, to level out. Once short sellers start covering, what they're doing is they're providing liquidity into the market. So when they're providing liquidity into the market, they have to buy back. Because as a short seller, all they're doing is they're borrowing something that's not theirs and they're selling it. So they're selling something that doesn't belong to them. Is what they're basically doing. But then they got to buy back those coins and return them back originally where they got them from. So that provides the liquidity when they're buying, and that causes the price to fluctuate and go up like crazy. So if you guys have a tool to kind of analyze where short sellers are stacked up on what coin, on what exchange, it's a very valuable tool to have. And Andreas, I think you're absolutely right, man, about ETC being single digit. It should not be single digit whatsoever. And I've been saying this for the last couple of videos. This thing really belongs at $10. I mean, it was a buck when Ethereum was at $10. Ethereum is at like almost $200 now. So I think $10 is a fair assessment, but in actuality, it should really be $20. If you really look at Ethereum being at 200 almost, Bitcoin, I'm sorry, not Bitcoin, Ethereum Classics should be at $20. So there's really no reason for it to be in the single digits. It should be at $10, hovering over 10, waiting for a crazy pump to get it up to that 20. But yeah, and that's why I'm still holding a little bit. I don't really plan on selling at this time. Now I'll sell 125 if it gets that 999 range, but I'll end up maintaining about 250 that I'll keep for a good amount of time, especially if she just hovers over $10 and stays over 10. Ripple, Ripple. Let's see what you're doing. I don't think she's gonna get to my buy-in price of 25 cents. Now, if Ripple's still hovering in this 30-cent range, 28-cent range before I go to bed, I'm not going to leave an open order for 25 cents in the book. I will actually lowball that and become a little bit greedy and basically put in maybe a 0.20001 offer on the book. Because if she's really just hovering in that 27, 26 range, then yeah, she could have a violent dip 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, just like she did. It's that 25 cents to get to the 20 cents possibly. And then that's not bad. I mean, considering where it's come from, 42, 43 cents, to get it at 20 cents and possibly have it get back up, grind up slowly but surely to that 40 cents, that's a It's a good profit, 100% profit. Yeah, Andreas, man, you have the same philosophy as I do. You really do. And it is crazy that ETC is just consolidating. I mean, it's happened, nice little corrections, nothing major. But basically, it is consolidating. And you're right, whales are not doing a good job. They are having this little mini pump. They'll pump it from like 7 to close to 8, pump it $1. Let's take a look at the chart real quick because it had a couple pumps that it was moving $1. But that pump is going to happen, and it's going to happen like crazy. I mean, it could easily go up 50% to 100%, like some of these coins are doing. And if you really think about it, currently right now it's at $8.25. Let's just say $8 to make the math easy. 100% is $16 easily. It can get pumped, and I think the whales are ready. But let's take a look at this and see a couple times where it had that nice pump of $1 and then pull right back down, pump it of $1 and pull it right back down. I mean, let's take a look at this here. Bottom of 605 to a high of 695, so that's a 90-cent pump here. I mean, easy. Here they pumped it from 580 to about 655. So let's just say that's 80 cents. I mean, so it's having these nice little miniature pumps. I think this is probably the biggest one out of all of them, and that went from, let's just say 690 to about 850. $1.10 pump there. So, I mean, this thing could really fly, and when it starts flying, I don't think there's going to be anything that's stopping it. It's a matter of time. Jay, welcome, buddy. Let's see what you're saying. How about today? It was 45 on Bittrex and 38 on Poloniex. On what coin are you talking about, Jay? On Ethereum Classic? If that was in regards to Andreas' comment. Because I don't know of any coins that were 45 and 38, especially with Litecoin. Look at Dash and compare ETC's consolidation period in 2014. That's as long as this chart allows me to go back to 2014. Let's do it one day. Some of these charts really will not allow you to go back too far. So the furthest I could look at on Bitfinex for ETC, really I can only go back as far as, what is this, July 27, 2016, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, but Dash was cheap. I mean, I did a Dash video, and Dash was only at, I forget, like $13, $14, anywhere between like 13 and $15, I think the price was. And it just slowly but surely started shooting up. And I think, when I did that video, it wasn't that long ago, maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, I would say, at the most. But yeah, I think the chart is going to be the same for just about every cryptocurrency that you look at. Whether you're looking at a 3-month chart, a 2-year chart, a 3-year chart, they're still going to have that crazy upward move. Where they've consolidated for a while. I mean, I remember Ethereum just continuously consolidating in that $7, $8 range. Current ETC consolidation to dark. I don't think I have access to dark. If you have a charting system that lists that, let me know. CryptoC chart, I've never heard of that one. Yeah, because I don't think dark is traded anymore, or is it? Let's see what's on. Nothing on Poloniex. But I think every chart is going to be somewhat similar with a lot of these cryptocurrencies that have just really made a move. Dark is Dash. Let's see how far I can get back on Dash. Uh, and this is on Bitfinex. Wow, I can't even go that far back on Dash. March 3rd, 2017. Really? That's when they were listed? Crazy. But yeah, but this is just an impressive move. I mean, in 2.5 months, to go from $40 to 100 and almost 140. So it definitely broke out, from its resistance. So as we can see up here, with Dash 114 was a nice resistance. That was the top that it hit. Actually, the 115 was the top that it hit here, and that was right around March 18th of 2017. And then it hit again 114 exactly to the point on May 7th, 2017. So that's basically, just every trader would think, that's a resistance. That's where I'm going to sell. That's exactly where they sold at 114. Basically almost 2 months later, a month and a half later, and then what do you know? It came down and pulled right back down to that $80 level. So if anybody was really holding, let's just say they bought it at $80 and they're expecting a lot more, and it got up to 114 and they didn't take profits at 114, then yeah, they rolled it all the way back down. Hopefully they didn't sell and they had strong hands and they kept it, because then now they would be rewarded. Oh yeah, if they became insolvent and died, yeah, unfortunately no access to that. Um, but I mean, even with let's just say Ripple, I mean, I would like to take a look at Ripple on the overall chart, and I kind of have to rely on Poloniex, and really price action volume is going to be completely different depending on what exchange you're looking at. They're not going to be the same at all. So I wouldn't be able to take a look at Ripple and say, okay, you know what, this is going to be my entry at this point if I'm trading on Bitfinex. Because really on Poloniex, it hasn't gotten to 25 on the nice pullback, but on Bitfinex, it has gotten to 25 cents twice. But yeah, that's a hard thing. I can kind of look at the trend and say, okay, you know what, we're on an uptrend, and possibly base my trade on that, on a different exchange, but I wouldn't be able to find a specific price to get into. But I know what the floor is now on Ripple, on Bitfinex. I know the floor is 25 cents. So that's kind of what I would be looking at playing, and then possibly selling at 32, 33. Yeah, and that's the scary thing, Andreas, about a lot of these exchanges. I mean, how many are going to die? And, how many new ones are going to come on and start thriving? That's why, I get nervous at night, going to sleep, having almost $13,500 in Bitfinex. Whereas before I kind of had them spread out between GDAX and Bitfinex, but it's like, wow, I should not have that much money sitting on one exchange, because really anything could happen. Anything could happen to really any of these exchanges, even GDAX or Coinbase or Bitfinex. It is scary. At least I know on GDAX and also Gemini that it is, my USD is FDIC approved or insured. Whereas on Bitfinex, I don't think it's FDIC insured if something happens. But the crazy thing is, and I don't know if a lot of you guys know, with FDIC, so banks, of course, are FDIC approved or insured up to $250,000. But what a lot of people don't know, and the reason why I know this is because I've worked for the fifth largest bank in the U.S., is that FDIC insured funds that you have in your account, the federal government really, they have 99 years to pay you. on that insurance if the bank fails. So if the bank fails, let's say you have $250,000 in there, you're covered. If you have $300,000 in that bank, you're going to lose out on $50,000. But the federal government, the Federal Reserve, have 99 years, up to 99 years, to pay you the $250,000 if the bank goes under. More than likely, you're not going to be alive. So that FDIC insurance thing, it's bogus, it's fraud, and not a lot of people know that. They're not going to be paid right away. That the government has up to 99 years to pay that money out to you. So I got about 8 minutes left on this live stream. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. But we'll see. Hopefully by Wednesday, I'll have a position, an entry, maybe an exit on Ripple. I am looking for that 25. But if something else is happening where where Litecoin is actually dipping to that $20 price point that I'm looking at, more than likely I'll probably end up canceling this Ripple order and buying some more Litecoin. But Ripple would be nice at 25 cents if I would have kept my order open. But I'll keep it open and keep an eye out on Litecoin to see if Litecoin is going to dip to that 20-cent level. And she could easily do it. All it needs is just money to start flowing out of LTC and start flowing into Ethereum or Bitcoin. But I do like how Ethereum is starting to come down. From that high of 185 or 188, whatever it was at. It needs to go up slowly but surely, just so that people don't end up getting trapped. Going up this high this fast, it could easily dip back to 100, back to 82, and I would feel bad for people that are chasing it at the 170 range. Max, welcome, buddy. So, my goal, my commitment to you guys is that I'm going to start doing a live stream 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's going to be from 9:30 a.m. Eastern time zone or New York time zone to about 11:30 a.m. Eastern time zone. So I'm not sure where you're located out of, but the best thing to do is click on that subscribe button. Click on that post notification. So every time I schedule a live stream, and I try to schedule these live streams an hour before I go live. Because we're all human beings. We all have responsibilities. We all have things to do outside of what I'm currently doing now. So if something comes up and I can't get on the live stream, I don't want to schedule it a day in advance or 2 days in advance, because really anything could happen. But I do try to go in and schedule them at least an hour before the live stream goes on. So if you click on that post notification, you will be notified that I've scheduled a live stream. But yeah, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 9:30 a.m. Eastern time zone to 11:30 a.m. Eastern time zone. So 2 hours, 3 times a week. Now, if time permits, and if I have time, and there's crazy things that are happening in the market, and I end up taking a position, I'm looking to get out. I might do a quick live stream, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, on days that I don't really have a live stream schedule. So, if something happens on a Tuesday, Thursday, or even Saturday, and I'm available to get on the computer, I'll definitely try to make a point to do that. But yeah, I wonder who's buying Zcash at its high. It's up 90%, volume of 21,000, which isn't much at all, for it to be really going up this high. And what are we looking at here? This is a 5-minute chart. Let's get out of this and do a 15-minute chart. But yeah, tons of consolidation. It didn't really have the pump until still pretty high, 125. But once it hit 125, that fear of missing out, people started piling in, and they basically added gasoline to the fire. And what do you know? Got it to pump from that 125 all the way to 290. That's just crazy. 100%, over 100% profit. Who knew that starting at 125 would pump up to 290 bucks? Crazy. That's a cryptocurrency market that we're in. It's just a lot of craziness. Yeah, that's why in these situations, I mean, if it's grinding up slowly but surely, yeah, it's a great long position to have. But if it's making these crazy up and down swings as a long-term investor, I would not want to stomach this at all. I mean, going from 290, back down to 161, within a matter of, what is this, 15-minute candlestick? Within a matter of 45 minutes, less than 45 minutes possibly. 290 to 160. That's just crazy. That's a huge drop. $130 drop. Wow. That could have been when possibly short sellers were just attacking it. But for Litecoin, I will be definitely paying attention to that $21 level. That's really what it came down to on Bitfinex. $21 level, and that was on, looks like May 16th. To today came down to that $21.75 or 70 cents. So that's a good level to kind of look at, that possibly $21 to $20 level for a nice $4 to $5 uptick. Yeah, I mean, this isn't a bad chart at all. It's got definitely nice up and down swings. And as a trader, that's kind of what we look for. These up and down swings. And the more that you can really sit there and analyze, a cryptocurrency, the more that you're going to get familiar with its patterns and its swings. And that's why, I like trading the same coins because I know their patterns. I know what they're capable of doing. If I'm trading something new, it's going to take me a little while to kind of sit there and analyze and see, what is the pattern of this? Where has it been? Where's it? What are the possibilities or probabilities of it getting up higher? Whereas if we look at the overall chart of this, I mean, really that is 3 times that it made it to that level of 2150, before getting back up. So right here on the left-hand side, we have this dip here, which is very good support. Did the same thing here, the same thing here. So 3 times it bounced off that level of anywhere between 21, let's just say 2170 to about $20.96. So let's just say 21. So that's a really nice support level. So if I was looking to play this, that's exactly what I would be looking for tonight. And that's why I put 20 bucks order in last night, because I knew that that was going to be a good support if it got down to that price point. But yeah, but this is a perfect chart. I mean, some really nice up and down swings to be able to take advantage of. Coinbase is down. Let's see. Now, are you using Coinbase or are you using GDAX? And Jonathan, welcome, by the way. And one thing I've always said about Coinbase is never use Coinbase to buy anything. Use GDAX. You're going to pay a higher premium when you're using Coinbase. Plus, you're going to pay commission as well too. So definitely try to avoid that. But let me see if I can get on Coinbase. Or actually, GDAX is what I'm trying to get on. But let's see. Big sell wall for LTC. Yeah, if I can get on, I can definitely take a look at it. Let's see, Coinbase might be up now, but the twisted. What's twisted? Or they tweeted. So no issues with, and I haven't really, I don't have any funds at GDAX anymore since I moved everything over. So I really haven't had a chance to kind of, or really a reason to log into GDAX, considering I use Crypto Watch and it tells me the price of some of the most popular exchanges. But no issues there. Even if I go to Coinbase, let's see. But yeah, definitely use GDAX to trade, and you have access to it as long as you have a Coinbase account. You have access to it. And no, I'm able to log in. There's no issues at all. And so it might have been just a small outage, momentary outage. But let's take a look at the sell wall. Yeah, on Litecoin, man, I've seen 10,000, 8,000. So these 1,300, 1,000, 5,000. Yeah, the 5,000 would concern me just a little bit, depending on how many sellers or how many traders are stacked on that price, and it's kind of hard to determine. Now, if it's one person, yes, I would be worried. If it's multiple people's, it's not bad. So now I just went away. They completely took it off the book. So let's see if they add it on somewhere else, and it all depends on, depending on how fast it's being taken off and how fast it's getting added on, we can kind of determine if that's a bot that's doing it or if that's an actual human. All right, so 4,968 back on to 2584. Let's see if that gets moved around. Sometimes, usually, they'll move around so fast just to try to trick people that it's a bot. But this one might be a person, and it might be one person actually, considering 4,968 just popped out of nowhere all at once. It's definitely one person. Max, use GDAX, GDAX.com. And as long as you have Coinbase, and if you don't have Coinbase, I do have a link at the bottom of this video. So please use that link. It does help me out as an affiliate. You'll actually get 10 bucks in free Bitcoins when you open an account and trade $100 worth of Bitcoin. So you'll get 10 bucks in Bitcoins. I'll get 10 bucks in Bitcoins. But as long as you set up a Coinbase account, you have access to GDAX, which is the trading platform that's currently that I'm sharing with you guys right now on the screen. And it's really a nice trading platform. It's easy on the eyes. Of course, it's got issues just like any other exchanges does, but it's not bad to use overall. But yeah, gdax.com. But you definitely have to set up a Coinbase account first. And then, of course, on the left-hand side, if you guys can see, it does say minor outage. So let's see. Let's click on that and see what it says. So the issue has been identified and fixed. And okay. So the issue has been identified and fixed is being implemented. They've identified a root cause of the site response times and are working to resolve the issue. Blah 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 blah. So that was 7:45. I'm assuming East Coast time. So about 10:45 here, my time. But yeah, it seems like the issue is fixed. I didn't have an issue logging on at all. Use Coinbase and Bitpanda. Never heard of Bitpanda. Yeah, I'd be careful. Bitpanda. I'll have to do a little research. I mean, there's so many exchanges out there, and so many bad ones. To be honest with you, that I mean, they could easily go solve it and basically take everybody's Bitcoin, but say, hey, we got hacked. Somebody stole all everybody's Bitcoins. But in actuality, the exchange stole everybody's Bitcoins. Let's see what ETC is doing. All right, ETC is not too bad, 833. So it's maintaining that, above that 8, which is very good. And that's what it needs to do, really, because that was a prior resistance. So basically, it's making what was a prior resistance a new support, and that's exactly what it's doing now. Little dips here and there, but as long as the closing price is above, or the closing candle is above that $8, we're in pretty good shape. Considering it ran up to 910, it could easily hit that 910. Somebody comes in and start buying at that market level that's sitting on the sideline because momentum is to the upside. That 10 bucks is in sight. Definitely in sight. A lot better now than previously before, where it was just basically stuck between the $6 and the $7 range. All right, guys. So this is supposed to end at 11:30. I do appreciate everybody joining. Thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button, as well as click on that post notification so you're notified every time a video is scheduled or a live stream is scheduled. And sign up for our mailing list. Check out CryptoTradersRoom.com. Sign up for our mailing list. We will be giving away a chat membership to our Slack chat, which is a great place to kind of hang out and share ideas on trades, as well as check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat. And if you found this video helpful, please click on that like button. And if you're subscribed, thank you for subscribing and welcome to the family. And until next time, until Wednesday, this is Crypto Traders. Thank you so much for joining. And make sure to protect those profits. Enjoy your day. and have a great week. Let's see. I'll make one more comment, and that's in regards to Jonathan. Jonathan stating that, let's see. You think Coinbase keeps most of their coins offline? It's also insured, and cash deposits are insured FDIC. Yes, you're absolutely right, Jonathan. And I did talk about that briefly earlier. I'm not sure if you were on about them being FDIC approved or insured, and that yes, they do keep majority of their coins offline, which is very good. But that's only if you're using Coinbase. If GDAX gets hacked, that's a whole different story. But the problem is, when you're buying coins off Coinbase, you're going to pay that premium because you're actually buying them from Coinbase and you're not buying them from a trader or an investor that's on GDAX, and you're able to take advantage of the price fluctuation. Whereas at one point when I first started doing these videos, I did side-by-side comparison between GDAX and Coinbase, and there was a difference of like 40, $50 for Bitcoin. So that was kind of a nice markup. So you are going to pay a premium when you buy them, on Coinbase.com, because you're actually physically buying them from Coinbase and not a different trader. But like I said, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. Until next time, this is Crypto Traders. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.